Today I'm going to show you how to upcycle 2 litre milk bottles to use them as garden planters. I've got 2 different styles here. For this style, you'll need 2 litre milk bottles. And for this style, you'll need just 1 2 litre milk bottle. The equipment you'll need today will be a cutting mat, 2 litre milk bottles, a ruler, a Sharpie, a box cutter or kitchen knife if you have one, and a pair of scissors. I've rinsed these out really well to get rid of all the leftover milk and make sure there was no cream crusted around the lid or the top of the bottle. That could really start to smell if you leave it there. The garden planter looks like this. We use 1 bottle to hold the soil, and we use the other bottle as the flower pot, and we insert one inside the other. Our soil will go in here and our seeds will go in here as well. This section we need to make sure we've got the lid, and the lid will need to have a hole pierced in it. So to do that, I need to remove the styrofoam that's in there, and you may want to rinse your lid again if it's a little bit dirty. To pierce the hole in it, turn the lid upside down so the flat side's up. Take your scissors, making sure you don't put your fingers over the sharp blades, otherwise you'll cut yourself. So I'm going to push down and twist at the same time. So I'm just pushing and twisting, trying to stay centered. You'll find there's a little dimple there already, and you need to apply a fair bit of force. If you're not comfortable doing this, ask an adult at home to do it for you. So I'm finally through. You can see the scissors have poked through, and I'm just going to give it a twist to open that hole up, and I'm going to screw that back onto one of my milk bottles. So I'm going to use one that I haven't cut yet. I'm going to screw that back on there. And we will cut this milk bottle so it looks like this one here. I'm going to use a Sharpie and a ruler. And I'm going to cut about halfway down. And if you're not sure where that is, maybe have a look at where the sticky label is and just put a black line where the sticky label is, and then rotate your milk bottle over and keep doing it the same thing on all 4 sides. Now if you have a craft knife or an X-Acto knife or a box cutter like this, you can use it, but I'm only going to use it to pierce a hole in, because it's not very accurate and it's quite dangerous. So when I'm cutting, I'm making sure I've got a cutting mat covering my cutting surface. I'm also putting the knife in, and I'm not pulling it towards my body, I'm actually pushing it down into the side, so I'm cutting away from me. So if I should slip, my hand is here out of the way and the knife will just go over here. If you don't have a craft knife, you can do the same thing with a pair of scissors. But all I'm going to do, because I want to retain this section of the bottle here, I'm going to pierce a hole on this side of the line. So again, just like for the lid, I'm going to twist and push down. You don't need to apply so much force. This one is more about the twisting motion, and it kind of drills a hole through the plastic. So, and don't worry if your milk bottle crumples a little bit like mine did, because I can poke it back into shape when I'm finished. So you can see I've got a hole in my milk bottle. I'm going to cut it around on the black line that I've drawn with my Sharpie. And now I can poke any dents out of my milk bottle. Make sure my lid's screwed on tightly. Although this lid isn't suitable for this bottle, so I'm going to put it back on my original one that I made. And if this is at all uneven, you can always trim it off. But don't trim it too much just yet, because you need to make sure that it's going to fit inside the other part of your planter. Now, if you've only got one milk bottle, you could easily just pop this inside there, and you've got a planter to plant your seeds in. Your soil will go into here, your seeds will go on top, and you'll put a dusting of soil over the top. This becomes your water reservoir, and the water will drain through the hole. Any excess water will drain through the hole and into the reservoir below. So it forms like a little self-watering container. If you have 2 milk containers, you can work towards making a container that looks like this. So to do this, I got my milk container, and again I got my Sharpie, and about halfway down, with the handle facing towards me, I'll put a line about halfway down on that top surface. I then rotated it so the handle is still at the top, and joined another line to that, and then I did one more line. So now you should be able to see I have a black line on 3 surfaces of my milk bottle. On this other surface, we're actually going to create a back. So we're going to create this shape here. So I want to create a line that looks like this. This is the back, so I turn that towards me, and the line will come up like that. You can see it joins the front. I will cut this part away. I will cut this part away. The line will come across here. And now it's going to scooch down around the handle and join up there. And I will cut, this part away. So as I rotate it around, here's the back, here's the side, here's the front, here's the other side, and I'm back to the back. Let's cut that out. Use your scissors. So I want to cut this part away, so I'm going to pierce my hole on this side. Again, fingers away from the blades, holding the scissors carefully, pushing and twisting till you've pierced through. And now I can cut along that line. Now I don't want to cut here. I want to go up and follow the curve. Don't worry if your cutting's a bit rough, you can always come back and smooth it out. Cutting around the top, following the curve down, following the curve down, and back to the front again. If you've poked your plastic in, just pop it out again. And I'm just going to go around and clean up a few little rough bits that I left on there. And I'm pretty happy with that. Once you've finished making your upcycled planter, and it doesn't really matter which style you're using, I'm going to use this style. Take your bag of soil and empty it into the planter. Now I want to make sure my soil goes into the inside container. Make sure you've got your hole in your lid so the water can drain out. And now I'm going to carefully tip my seed raising mix that you've got in a small Ziploc bag into my container. Don't tip it all in, just save a little bit back because you want to be able to sprinkle some soil over at the top. I'm going to compress it down a little bit. Now I'm going to take my seeds, and I've got a handful of coriander seeds, and I'm just going to try and sprinkle them evenly. If they keep rolling into the center, just make some little depressions with your fingers for the seeds to go into. Not all of them will germinate. You might be lucky, you might get all of them to germinate. So once you've sprinkled all your little seeds around, you need to just put a dusting of soil over the top so they're covered. Press them down again so there's good contact with the soil, and it also helps to remove any air pockets that might be in there. So now I'm outside, just gonna, with my watering can, give it a little bit of water. It will take a little while to soak through. What you'll find is any excess water will drain through the hole in the bottom and go into the reservoir down here. So you need to make sure that you keep your soil damp but not swimming. And you can see the water is nearly drained all the way out. If the bottom reservoir builds up too much, I can always slide this top out and empty out that excess water so I'm not drowning my seed. And some of the seeds have come uncovered, so I'm just going to cover those over. So I need to take a photo of that now to record it for day one. I'm going to record the outside temperature. If I can, I'm going to record the inside temperature. And I'm going to keep mine on our windowsill, not in direct sunlight because they'll get cooked, but just in a fairly light area inside.